Pearson Rabbit's story begins with Dr. Stephanie Pearson, a passionate OB/GYN at the height of her career. But when a shoulder injury struck during a precipitous delivery, her dreams were shattered, leaving her unable to practice medicine. Determined to make a difference, Stephanie became an advocate for her peers, guiding them through the complex disability process. Alongside insurance expert Scott Ravitz, Stephanie founded Pearson Ravitz, a company determined to approach insurance differently. Together, they set their mission to educate and empower physicians to protect their most valuable asset, their income, and the most important people in their life, their family.
Today, Pearson Ravitz serves the medical community in all 50 states. At Pearson Ravitz, they understand the unique concerns of physicians. Physician-founded and physician-focused, Pearson Ravitz builds human connections before they create quotes. Life can change in an instant. It's hard to imagine that a sudden illness or injury could leave you and your family in a devastating financial situation. But with a little planning and guidance, you can prepare for every possibility. Visit PearsonRavitz.com today to schedule your consultation with the Pearson Ravitz advisor.
Finally, a source of raw, real, and honest information on healthcare issues that matter most. Welcome to BS Free MD. From the latest medical information to how to stay sane as a doctor or a patient, no subject is taboo, no BS is allowed. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Doctors May and Tim Hindmarsh.
Welcome to Doctales with Cocktails with BS Free MD co-hosts Tim and May Hindmarsh. And I always like to introduce the show, even though a lot of our faithful followers on Wednesday night are watching the live stream. If you're listening to the replay, you'll be like, what the heck are they talking about? We are in our temporary studio here in sunny Bradenton, Florida. And I'm just bemoaning about Wednesday nights is when all the activities happen in the neighborhood, including when they're featuring the Spirit of the Night that we're going to share with you all. So we debate again what we're going to do with the regular Doctales night, but more on that later. Tonight we are talking about what, Tim?
The Rosetta effect.
The Rosetta effect.
And May brings us some weird diagnoses that might kill you.
Yeah. Weird diagnoses and strange conditions.
I should have shaved.
As well as some updates.
Look at that. Like I look terrible. I should have shaved. One day without shaving.
You didn't dress up for the event?
Well, I wore my Chevelle shirt because I'm back to rock shirts because that's who I am.
And it's going to be a fun surprise every week to see what shirt he's wearing since we
can't find any shirts.
Well, I found a big tote of shirts that is going to go into the winter wear apparel section of the storage unit.
Or an incinerator, whatever comes first.
Oh, they might just disappear and then I'll be in big trouble. That would be terrible. Anyway, Chevelle it is for tonight. And,
great band.
I'm wearing pinstriped blue and white tropical. It's not really tropical attire. Florida attire.
You're a candy striper.
There you go. Yes.
Wow, you're a candy striper sleeping with a doctor. Like that's never happened before.
Ooh, that's
bad.
It's true.
Bad. Like true. I try my hardest. I'm like, I'm going to keep everything positive. I'm going to keep it on the straight and narrow. I'm not going to swear. And then it just like in 3 minutes and 9 seconds, it all goes to shit.
You tried, but
I tried.
I think it's because
and I failed.
You and maybe half of the rest of our audience watching the Republican debate, and your brain just kind of got lost.
Okay, if you want a solid 3 hours of entertainment, go on Rumble and watch Steven Crowder's debate show where they have a drinking game where they drink based on what buzzwords the candidates say. It is awesome. It is awesome. We watched a little bit of it before the show. The unbelievable comment of Vivek Ramaswamy calling Nikki Haley Dick Cheney in 5-inch heels. Like seriously, honest. I'm just like, I cannot get enough of that.
I thought Crowder and company were going to choke on their drinks.
No, they literally like almost had like whatever they're drinking coming out of their nose. That was absolutely brilliant.
Anyway, that was the most hilarious.
That was
The rest of it is
very
boring.
good. Okay, who's
Anyway,
starting? Me or you?
Well, why don't you start?
Okay, so anyone that has read Malcolm Gladwell's very amazing book, and all of his books I think are pretty amazing. All that I've read, which is most of them, Outliers, he talks about something about it's been now termed the Rosetta effect. So between 1955 and 1965, there was a town in Pennsylvania, Rosetta, where they had essentially no deaths from cardiac disease, which was ramping up to epidemic levels at that time of the, in the country. And people were like, well, what's the deal? Like, is it a diet? Is it like, what is it? So these researchers went into Rosetta, Pennsylvania, and they found similar levels of smoking, similar levels of, drinking, but they didn't have any alcoholism. There was tons of these kind of diseases of the 20th century and 21st century that they didn't have, like no heart disease. Most people just got super old and died. And so they're like embedded in this and they're trying to figure it out. And actually their obesity rate was the same or higher than the average American. And then they had a control group. They looked at people that were raised in Rosetta and left the town and what happened to them. And they basically succumbed to American diseases at the same rate. And here's the part that's really crazy, is the only thing they could see that was different from this town and the surrounding towns and the people that had left the town and had, become residents of another area, was that they had super supportive relationships. So they would have 3 or 4 generations living in one house. Everyone looked out for everybody's grandma across the street. They always had, parties and get-togethers and weddings, and so they were super duper integrated. And so the theory, which I think is correct, is they were completely de-stressed because they were totally connected to basically everybody in the town. And you sit there and you go, and I think now, and I think of, the political debates that we talked about. I think about all this stuff, and everything is about fear, division, anxiety, Facebook and Instagram clicks. And you go, maybe all of that crap is worse than smoking.
Oh, no doubt. I'm just thinking back to, remember there's the life stressors scale, that we learned a long time ago in medical
I love
school,
that, by the way.
which, ranks all those things. And they didn't really compare it obviously to smoking on toxins and so forth, but they talked about the life stressor scale and the effect that it has. And I can't remember the stats on like how many years of your life gets taken off or the effect. But I remember, death, obviously death of a child being the biggest, death of a spouse. And then,
but the one that was the craziest,
divorce, moving,
right,
all of those
but
things.
the one that was the craziest is change in income.
Oh yes. That's
and
right.
It didn't matter if it was up or down. That was crazy. So if you had a massive change in income, so if you're making $1 million a year and then you go to like 50,000,
that's depressing.
That's a massive change in income, and it's super stressful. But it didn't matter if it went up or down. If you were making 50,000 and then you were making $1 million, it was basically the same amount of stress, which is so, like, people go like, oh no, I won the lottery. I don't have to, but it's super stressful because you have more responsibility to manage these assets, to not burn them up. And it's really crazy. Like
so we should go back to what we did this summer and just both being kind of deadbeats sitting around.
No,
not working.
No, but it's really weird. I mean, and when you look at those, like the income ratio to happiness thing, it basically tops out at 150 grand.
Yes.
Like your life gets better. You can take more vacations. You can have better cars, and you don't have to worry about if your car is going to break down. And there's a certain amount of money. Like there's a certain number of things in modern society that are better if you have a certain amount of money. It's common sense, right? And then after that, it doesn't really matter.
Right, but it's not a continuous exponential upward curve. In fact, we talked about this before, and I listened to the audiobook. I read the book by Wes Moss. I think everyone should read it. It's fascinating. I'll botch the title, but it's something about the how to retire happy. And it has all this data he compiled as a financial advisor on his clients over the years and the ones that were the most happily, basically he got all this information on everybody that had retired that he'd worked with and how happy they were and everything from cars they drove to money and how much their house was and how much money they thought they needed to retire, etc. And into the little details of how many activities they had and friends. And it's true, that part about happiness does not go up in line.
It's not a linear progression
with income level.
No, not at all.
In fact, you're right.
But the most unhappy retirees, this is what I love. This makes me so unbelievably happy. The most unhappy retirees, by definition, drove BMWs. And I'm like, yes, because you spent all of your retirement fixing the BMW.
Striving to be someone you're not is what I think.
No, I think that if you've ever owned a BMW and had to fix it,
you're unhappy.
Hide the weapons because suicide is the only option.
All right. So Desiree just bought Outliers.
Oh, no, it's so good.
And
Outliers.
It's an amazing book.
The best chapter,
I
though,
wish that I had
the best
been born
chapter
at a different time of the year. If you read the book, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Chapter is Korean Airlines.
Oh,
that one
yes.
will make your mind explode.
But anyway, you should read Wes Moss's book all about how to retire happy. Fun facts in there. It's really light reading, and it's actually very inspirational. And you'll probably think, "Oh, I'm doing better than I thought." But back to the Rosetta, not the Rosetta Stone.
the Rosetta. So really, it made me think.
Wait, I have to ask. So they're from Pennsylvania. So are these families Amish? Are they
no, they're
community?
Italian. So they took basically this entire Italian town, moved to Pennsylvania, to go to the New World, right? And they basically moved a bunch of core families at the same time, which is interesting because that's exactly what happened in my family, where my grandmother and grandfather's family left Russia and Ukraine to go to Saskatchewan in Canada, and they all moved all of these families at the same time. And it was super crazy because they had all these connections in the old world, and then they built these entirely new families that were already connected. And those were happy people.
Yeah.
Like when I think of my grandfather, he was 2 years old, came from Russia, came to Canada, and these people had nothing. They slept in a dugout, which was a hole in the prairie ground with a sod roof, with 3 families in probably 400 square feet, maybe. And they still had big families, which means it must have got pretty crazy when the sun went down. I'm just saying.
Sleeping that close together. What do you think?
I'm just saying there was no Netflix, so there was just chill.
Well, there's the answer to your question from last week.
No Netflix and chill, just the chill.
Maybe you should learn to unplug that TV, Tim.
Yes, and the chill made lots of kids. And at any rate, the thing that was wild is they literally came here with nothing, and none of them died poor. Like at all. They left legacies.
They worked hard. They had to work hard. That's all they knew.
Well, because or else you're dead. Well, exactly. So they left legacies of property and like homes, and it was just absolutely fascinating.
This transforms over to obviously any kind of people that are connected in a tight-knit community and family. Pick your cultural group. I think it. So what does that say about us? We left everybody.
Well, it says this.
We're left.
No, it says this.
We got our.
No, it doesn't matter.
We got our Links neighborhood people.
No, that's true. But it doesn't matter because here's the bottom line. The quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. So May and I have relationships, and you only get, 4 or 5 of these where where they essentially last your entire lifetime. And you cannot see somebody for 10 years and you see them and you catch up in 2 seconds and you laugh and whatever. Those are absolute blessings that need to be cherished. Those are complete diamonds in your life. Then you make new relationships in new places. But the quality of the relationships you had before, you will bring with you to wherever you go. And so focusing on the quality of relationships and de-stressing and doing that's longevity. That's quitting smoking. That's drinking less. That's a better diet. That's exercise. It's all of those things. And it's really wild because there's a balance that has to be. We should fight for justice. Like we believe we are warriors for medical freedom. That's all fine and good. But you got to be the happy warrior, like Pete Chambers, who we have interviewed. Yes. You can't be the pissed off, angry guy. Because you know what pissed off, angry guy is? He's an asshole that gets nothing done. And this is...
then raising cortisol levels, inflammation, all of that stuff.
No, and I'm preaching to myself because I fall into that so easily. It's just like, because as Brant Hansen would say, that we've
about to say that
interviewed before, there's absolutely no shortage of things to be righteously angry about, like legitimately righteously angry about. But do you want to live that way? And the answer is no, because if you live that way, guess what, kids? You'll die that way.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that.
Should we go to the merch or to your next time? Okay, merch. We have merch. Look at this.
Okay. It's coming in slowly, but we have merch. And so it will be coming. We're doing a show preemptively to the winners. They will be getting this special Yeti BS-free MD Rambler cup. It's very amazing. Of course, it says honest combos, no BS on the back, as well as these fun koozies, which I always hated until now.
Honest combos.
Because I live in a hot climate.
No bullshit.
Although we should have white.
Because you know what?
White ones to reflect the sunlight.
The world has too much bullshit, and we are against bullshit.
So koozies, and we have some other merch coming in. And once the last of the merch is in, which hopefully will be by next week, the prizes will go out.
Because you know what we have? We have a studio filled with glamorous prizes.
So I really love the merch, and Desiree did an amazing job designing those up. But I think we need white koozies too next time, or tropical colors. Just throwing that out there.
Then you get your grubby hand on it when you're working on your car, and you grab the koozie because you got to drink beer when you're, and then it's all.
I guess you get. Just sounds like your new swim trunks, shorts, whatever that we got just recently, and they're already covered in grease.
Yeah. Straight to the barbecue, out of the pool, boom.
So if anybody has any ideas on how to get horrible grease stains out, other than the typical shout, etc., pop it up on there in the comments. I could use that, and we'll talk about it. So, yes, the merch is awesome.
What you got, May?
All right. Well,
crazy diseases, things that will kill you in your sleep. Be terrified, be stressed, and die.
That's right.
Right?
Well, actually,
isn't that what we're doing now? We went from positive to negative so quickly.
That's me. I'm. If there's someone
Debbie
needs a Debbie
Downer,
it will be me. And now, of course, like last time, I got busy scrolling and lost my place in here. But I was going to say there's an update. We talked before on the podcast about how phenylephrine was going to be removed from the shelves because the FDA was talking about how it's not helpful. And it's basically the same as placebo. That's the decongestant that everybody likes to spray up their nose specifically.
No. You eat phenylephrine.
Eating the phenylephrine.
Oxymetalazone that you spray up your nose works wonderfully.
You can get it
for 2 days.
Yes.
And then you get rebound.
Sorry,
excuse
me.
Oral
decongestants. The oral decongestants. My bad.
Yes. And then you get rebound congestion, and then you have a 27.5 cent a day Afrin habit.
Yes.
Which I've had patients that have been on Afrin for years.
Anyway.
And I'm like, dude, you got to quit that shit.
It is now permanently pulled from the shelves from CVS, and I guess you can't get it anymore.
How long did that take the FDA to figure out that it was worthless crap?
It seems like 2 months. That was it.
No. How long has phenylephrine been sold?
Oh,
Like 25 years, 35 years?
yeah.
Thank
Remember
you,
we talked about
FDA.
it. It came out in what, late 50s, 60s, and then they proposed back in the 90s. Was it that it be?
Well, what
removed?
happened was Sudafed, which actually works, pseudoephedrine, got pulled off of most over-the-counter pharmacies in most states because you could use it to cook meth,
Yes.
a la Jesse Pinkman. And so that all changed. And so then phenylephrine, which was already there, was used as the new fake Sudafed, so to speak. But it's been around forever. And it took the FDA literally decades to figure out it doesn't do anything.
That the original studies were crap studies, and it was
Right.
no better than placebo.
Right.
And so the
So
first
guess
time
what?
they proposed it, they just kind of benched it, and
Right.
nothing happened.
So in 2065, when I turn 100, they'll pull the COVID vaccines.
And maybe some of the
They'll go,
statins.
those studies were bullshit and they lied to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, all those years ago, all those 42 years ago.
I think you're being optimistic that it'll be that soon, but what if?
Well, it won't matter because I'll be dead.
In 100 years from now, when they're telling the tale.
We used to
And the
think
next-
we used to think that mRNA vaccines were a good idea
And the
till I
next-
grew a second dick and a horn out the front of my head.
And the next pandemic rolls around. All righty. Moving right along.
Did you like that, May?
Loved it.
Was that good? A horn out, like, what if it was a very satisfying horn out of the front of my head? Would that be better?
I reserve the right to take the fifth on that
I
one.
reserve the right to remain silent. Unfortunately, as Ron White says, I lack the ability.
You and Ron White are brothers by another mother.
That's right.
Yeah, that would be a fun guest.
Oh boy.
I'll just exit the room and let
We
you
would
two
get
go.
our E rating jacked up for sure on that one.
Okay, so I like weird news and strange, fascinating things. So I was in the quest for something fun and nutty.
Are you looking for alternative investments and tangible assets that help you build and protect your wealth while empowering your financial future? Look no further than Eckhart Enterprises. With over 37 years of experience in the industry, Eckhart Enterprises is your trusted partner in the world of alternative investments and asset management. They have a track record of success with more than 1,300 investors on board and over $700 million in capital invested in tangible assets.
Their specialty lies in offering immediate cash flow opportunities through mineral rights investments so that you don't have to wait decades to see your investments pay off. Their unique AML approach, born from decades of experience, focuses on aggregating, maturing, and liquidating assets strategically to maximize returns. Join Eckhart Enterprises. Visit EckhartEnterprises.com, spelled ECKARD enterprises.com today to begin your journey toward building and protecting your financial future.
For more information about alternative investments and asset management, visit EckhartEnterprises.com. And remember, Eckhart Enterprises is your gateway to tangible assets and lasting financial success. Contact Eckhart today.
For more information about alternative investments and asset management, visit EckhartEnterprises.com, spelled ECKARDENTERPRISES.com. And remember, Eckhart Enterprises is your gateway to tangible assets and lasting financial success. Contact Eckhart today. And then I got down these bunny trails and, I could go on all night, but I will save some for next week, the week after, and so forth. Today, we're talking about some of the craziest medical conditions that I'd never actually heard of this. So we'll see if Tim knows about it. So apparently there's a condition called Brewery Syndrome.
Yes, I've heard of that.
I really want to have Dr. Sabine Hazen back to talk about this.
Where people's gut, their microbiome actually turns things they eat into alcohol.
Yeah.
That's a spiritual gift.
So for these poor people, we'll get to it, actually become intoxicated with positive blood alcohol and breathalyzer alcohol levels without drinking anything. And here's how it goes.
That's my legal defense if I'm ever pulled over, right? Like right now, here you are, free legal advice.
And some of these,
I ate cabbage and now I'm wasted.
and some of the writers of these studies say that we need to have empathy for people that insist that they didn't drink alcohol. And anyway, we'll get to that. Yeah. So
Sorry. Guess what, dude? You're drunk. You're going to jail. Don't drink and drive. Don't eat kimchi and drive, right?
Well,
Is that the new thing? Don't eat kimchi and drive.
yeah, if you have saccharomyces.
That's
So
the gut butt.
pretty, we'll get, yeah. So here you go.
Saccharomyces.
This rare condition, and I couldn't figure out what the data numbers are, how many people have it specifically, because it overlaps other medical problems, is when someone who consumes a lot of carbohydrate-rich foods then starts to actually convert the carbohydrates in their gut into alcohol. And commonly, as the saccharomyces cerevisiae, it's a type of yeast that's the main gut culprit, leads to that fermentation process that produces the ethanol.
But how much? Like, can you actually be like intoxicated from this?
Yes. So symptoms include chronic fatigue syndrome, excess belching, dizziness, disorientation, hangovers, and IBS.
And strangely, thinking ugly women are beautiful.
Pretty much anything, that will happen when you
in a bar
imbibe too much. All of these symptoms, they say, can impact a person's mental health and physical well-being.
So it should be called auto beer goggles.
That's right. So according to this,
the
one
more
woman,
French bread I ate, the hotter she got. Like literally, I'm gonna eat French bread till she's beautiful.
Oh, that's funny.
That's all.
This one woman said, it was weird. I'd eat some carbs and all of a sudden I was goofy, vulgar. Every day for a year, I'd wake up and vomit. Sometimes it would come on over the course of a few days. Sometimes it was just like, bam, I'm drunk. So.
Wow. So it's like serious auto brewery. This is not like 2 shots and.
Right. And so they say by switching to, a low carb, high protein diet, etc., it helped. So I found the article.
Help.
In it.
Seriously, help. What do you mean help? Like, why would a carnivore diet help this? Wouldn't you want more bread, not less bread? I just ate steaks till she was ugly again. Like, that doesn't sound reasonable. Okay, hang on. Let me get this straight. I can go to the liquor store and I can pay $40 for a bottle of whiskey, or I can get Wonder Bread for $1.50 and have the exact same effect. And this is a disability.
You just need some Saccharomyces up your butt.
Seriously? Like that's a disability?
Oh, come.
Sounds like a secret power. Sounds like one of the like Marvel multiverse guys. He's like drunk bread man. Wasted bread boy.
That's Wonder Bread right there.
That's the Pillsbury Doughboy. That's why he giggles when you hit his tummy, because it releases the Saccharomyces and he's wasted.
Poof, just like that. Woo-hoo! That's why he's so bloated.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Man, I love that. That's a good crappy disease to have.
Well, this is published in PubMed and updated January of this year.
PubMed? Of course it's in PubMed. You drink bread and you're wasted.
So the National Library.
Is there liquor med too? Is there distillery med as well? Because that would be appropriate.
Well, I'll look for that one for next week for you. So anyway, apparently there's several strains of the bacteria, not just the one that I mentioned. And let's see, some of the other ones, if you care, some various strains of Candida, S. boularda.
That's where we're from.
Klebsiella. And then
we're from Candida.
All right, let's wait.
Justin Trudeau is the prime minister of Candida, isn't he? Well, he's very douchey, that would make sense if he was the prime minister of Candida, because he's very douchey.
All right, hold that thought. So people that have underlying conditions such as diabetes, liver disease, Crohn's disease, I read as well, can have this happen more often. And then people that have an autoimmune condition in which they lack alcohol dehydrogenase, I believe, and don't metabolize.
Yeah, you don't want to have that. That's bad.
Also,
that means you can't be on Doctales because you'd be like one drink and you are messed up for the rest of the next 3 days.
So get this. Okay. Researchers compared patients with brewery syndrome. They had 16 male, 12 female to an asymptomatic group. They also had a lot of food sensitivities consumed. They consume more water, less tea, coffee, dairy, and candy. They eat out less, cook more. Well, this doesn't make any sense. They did report having much more bad breath, diarrhea, and bowel changes. Imagine that. They had often been on
basically
a lot
what it sounds like is a drunk guy.
A lot of antibiotic exposures, which would change their gut microbiome. But not all of them did. Yes. So, but they measured the blood alcohol, as you were asking. And in one instance, a patient registered an ethanol concentration of greater than 400 milligrams per deciliter.
Holy crap!
So
that's
stress,
0.4.
Yes.
So 0.08.
Skipping meals can also, make it worse. So yeah.
So 0.08 is legally impaired. That is 0.4.
Yep.
That is like almost you need dialysis from alcohol
poisoning. So they say that production of those high levels, obviously people are going to test over the legal driving limit. It can happen without consuming any alcohol. And what you're supposedly when people come into the doctor, I guess if they've been feeling like they've got brain fog or having these symptoms of hangover and all this stuff without drinking, or they happen to get stopped by the police and charged with a positive breathalyzer test and swear that they weren't drinking. And I did remember I had a patient and I was like, I don't know if I believe this.
So
you can do a test. And actually they recommend.
Is it a stool test? So I'm not going to give you a breathalyzer.
Yes, you are.
But I'm going to shit on your breathalyzer.
No, so stop.
And then you're going to see that I'm actually just eating bread. It is the baguette.
This is what you're going to do. You're going to do, obviously, they recommend doing the history, physical, diet, and alcohol intake, basic lab test, metabolic panel, doing the blood alcohol screening, stool culture, and stool for bacteria. But then you do, and of course, eliminate any psych diagnoses, any history of head injury, a 24-hour observation with a high carbohydrate diet and a carbohydrate challenge of 200 grams of glucose. Just think of, those fun things you did when you were pregnant. And then you do blood alcohol and a breathalyzer alcohol test, like every hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, all up to 24 hours after. And they'll turn positive to confirm that's what they have.
So how do you treat it?
So, of course, the treatment is if they're really highly inebriated and their blood alcohol is super high, you just treat them like you would for acute alcohol poisoning.
Right. But how do you kill the strepto, whatever the hell it is?
So, of course, this made me laugh. It said prescribed drug therapy based on culture and sensitivity for the identified yeast or bacteria. And so some of these people have to be on certain azoles or Pauline yeast antifungal medications that can be up to a year-long course of therapy. Changing your gut microbiome by decreasing your carb intake, eating pretty much a low-carb, high-protein diet, as well as taking supplements that help with your, like probiotics that help with your gut microbiome. And they usually recommend seeing, of course, a nutritionist and a gastroenterologist that specializes in gut microbiome.
And we know one, and she is amazing.
Anyway.
She is Sabine the Hurricane Hazen. And yes. Right. And maybe you need a stool transplant.
Mm-hmm. So
I want to know, could I get a stool transplant that could give me that, though?
I'm sure you could. Actually, I was thinking.
So, you go to work.
You just eat the way you do. You just bread it up, drink some more booze, get a little more stressed.
You go to work, you're kind of stressed. You're like, I can't drink at work, but I can eat a baguette. And suddenly, people don't piss me off anymore.
There you go. Okay, here's another funny thing. Probably a lot of you have heard of this, but it is called foreign accent syndrome. And funny enough,
Well, you have that.
No, I do not.
You adopt. If we moved to Australia, you would be like,
Okay, that is different. People that pick up accents quickly, depending on what.
so is
They
this
hear,
like somebody gets hit on the head and all of a
yeah,
sudden they have a different accent?
And I'm currently slogging my way through part 2 of the Jack Cruz on Rick Rubin and
Oh,
Huberman
boy.
podcast, all about.
That is one of the greatest podcasts in the history of podcasts.
Yeah, and so my point being, I feel like I need to go back to physics, med school, biochem, all at the same time to glean some of that, because that guy's a genius. But they are talking. Jack Cruz was talking about because he's a neurosurgeon, how he's seen this happen. And what happens is, can you imagine if you were born and grew up in New York City and you have this metropolitan accent, and one day playing sports, you get whacked over the head with a big soccer ball, you pass out, your head hits the ground, you wake up, and now you're in the ER and they ask you who you are, and you're talking like my Siri app in a strong British accent.
Yeah, my Siri app is the best ever. I found the male Indian Siri app.
All right, so it's
unbelievably.
Siri,
it makes me so happy. Like I cannot be pissed off at this guy.
All right,
he's like, you must turn the corner now, and I'm like, I can't be upset at him.
I think he's
doing
him how
his best.
He made curry. I think you did that.
This is what I found on the internet.
Okay.
It is made of cumin and other spices.
Well, British Siri.
Turn left right now, or you will drive into
I can't do it now.
oncoming traffic.
All I've got is Indian voice.
You
in my
dumb ass.
I'm becoming a British Indian accent now. So what happens is from a traumatic brain injury, you can actually develop a foreign accent. It's a speech impediment, which results from damage to parts of the brain that coordinate speech. And sometimes it happens from a stroke, sometimes traumatic brain injury. They say that, with all the research that they're doing, they think there might be a heavy psychological overlay too.
You think?
Because the accents are pretty familiar ones usually. So the data show that like someone who had a Japanese switches to Korean, a British English accent to French, American English to British English, Spanish to Hungarian, that kind of thing, some close by.
So it's not like you get hit on the head and you have a Uzbekistan accent.
I know. So I thought it was kind of fascinating anyways. So usually it happens in more often in women than men between the ages of 25 to 49. So next time you get your head whacked and you feel like you want to, I don't know, parlez-vous français?
I ate this loaf of French bread. I got drunk.
Well, I guess
I tipped over.
You're in
I
France
hit
now.
my head. And now I'm speaking the Queen's English, even though I'm a Parisian Frenchman.
There you are.
There you go. That sums up the entire episode.
So
what are we drinking?
Those were fun. I will share more with you next time because there's some great ones. Well, we are drinking.
I love that weird diseases stuff. Don't tell that to medical students, because then every single frickin' person is going to have that,
Oh.
It's like, oh, I have a runny nose
and
a sore throat, and I had a fever 2 days ago, but my fever's better. Oh,
Brewery Syndrome?
You have Brewery Syndrome.
That's right.
No, you have a cold.
Okay, well, going down the path of Brewery Syndrome, we ourselves are not making our own alcohol in our bodies. We are drinking some fine spirits from a local distillery. And it's very good liquid, aptly named Good Liquid Distilling Company. Made right here
in Lakewood Ranch, Florida.
And they just opened in the middle of October. And Tim,
this is the gin, which strangely is almost empty.
Yes.
I think the little lizards must have snuck into the house.
Show them the orange liqueur, which is what I'm drinking tonight. Now, they have some amazing recipes how to combine these together. We failed because we are.
Because we have brewery
So
syndrome.
you're grabbing the bottle, but I want to show them that inside the bottle, look at that, it has beautiful on the back of the label, has this really pretty, looks like wallpaper. So get me the orange.
It's the botanicals.
The vodka one is made from wheat, and it has wheat on the back, and the orange botanical.
This stuff is amazing. And what's even more amazing is if you go to the distillery and they make you a drink, the craft cocktails are mind blowing.
Yeah. And
you can buy the bottles at the distillery. I don't think you can get them in liquor stores. You have to go there. And you get to go to Lakewood Ranch, which is an amazing place. We love living here. And you get to hang out with really cool people, and they play great music, and they make really cool. They have a martini there that's $100 because it has caviar and gold flakes in it.
No, you will not be getting one of those.
Because I'll be getting 3.
Okay, show them the bottle.
Look at that.
Now, this orange liqueur is freshly sourced from Florida oranges. Juicy, tasty, not sweet. And you can mix it with your regular vodka to make great cocktails. And they have all kinds of great things on their menu. So there you go.
No, good liquid. Seriously, you guys win. We've been to their restaurant and brewery. They have a brewery as well. And they win. It's outstanding food, great service, all the stuff you would expect. But they win the prize for the best name of a brewery and distillery. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's almost as good as BS Free MD or Doctales with cocktails.
About the young woman that I read that started it was actually a chemical engineer who went and learned how to distill spirits from someone up in Kentucky, I believe. And she's isn't she like one of the youngest distillers that graduated from that area, according to her little bio in there. Pretty neat. Anyway, cheers to you. We are loving our good liquid. Love local stuff. And of course, pairs well with my Trader Joe's dark chocolate truffle bar. You must get it. It's organic. Melts in your mouth. My son is about to eat it all. All right. And I've just got to do another shout out. It's definitely a cocktail of the morning. And I posted on social today. And I wish everybody who lives in Oregon would support this company. Check out my Instagram and Facebook if you haven't. It is amazing coffee brewed and roasted in Oregon. And that's all I'm going to say. Why don't I just let them check out the site? Or should I
You mean you're not going to say that it's Farewell Coffee? They're absolutely amazing. If anyone cares, they're actually not woke, which we care about, but we still like good coffee and, yes.
And so
more to come.
I'm getting it shipped from Oregon to here.
No, we are getting our coffee shipped. Yeah. Well, look, certain parts of the country do things better, right? If we wanted to, for instance, if we wanted a bunch of meth and homelessness, we would also get that from Oregon. But the other thing Oregon does very well is coffee. So that's where we're going to get it.
Yes.
If you want oranges, you don't buy oranges from Alaska. You buy them here, right? If you want limes and citrus fruit, you buy them from California or you buy them from Florida. If you want salmon, you buy that from Alaska. It's very simple.
Good points. Okay.
So coffee, Northwest, not communists. Perfect.
Well said. All righty. What's coming up on the show this week? Do you even know?
Yes.
Well,
Troy Eckert.
Yes.
Of Eckert.
We had a little bit of a upside down week. So if you listened today for a truth bomb, sorry, but there wasn't any. It was repurposed.
Well, it was
Doctales from last week.
Yes, but the real truth bomb was Monday when we released the episode that we had recorded a couple days before with John Littell. That was awesome. We are going to his conference. We cannot wait to meet the guests
this weekend.
That is absolutely amazing. This guy is a total titan. He has stood up for medical freedom from the very beginning. He is exactly like us. He has completely changed certain views about healthcare and certain medications based on being forced to look with open eyes. And I cannot wait for this weekend. It's going to be really, really crazy.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to, and a full report will follow.
Excellent. And you wrote a very nice newsletter.
I did.
So good job.
Well, I wrote a steaming pile of crap that you edited into something that was actually readable. People seem to respond to it.
We appreciate the feedback. We appreciate your comments. And if you haven't signed up for Truth Serum yet, go to our website.
Yes. And if you could do us a favor and spam all your friends and say, this is a really good newsletter, sign up for it. We would love that. That would be great. Like forward it on and say, sign up. We need to get some little sign up stuff. Look at, how do I get the newsletter? Go to bsfreemd.com, scroll
to
down,
the bottom,
click the sign up, and you are golden.
Yes. It says, sign up for Truth Serum. The Truth Serum comes out every Wednesday with deep thoughts and some behind the scenes photos that we throw in there, as well as recommended books and what's coming out on the podcast. So
yes, I love it.
Yep. So on our website, bsfreemd.com. And any other parting last thoughts before we wrap this baby up?
No, I don't. I have none, other than I'm going to try to eat some streptomyces, whatever the hell it is. And it's like, no, I'm not drunk. I just ate a sandwich.
All right. Until next week, we'll see you all next time. Now, a final word from our sponsor. At Pearson Ravitz, they understand that life can change in an instant. It's hard to imagine that a sudden illness, injury, or catastrophic event could put you and your family in a devastating financial situation. Physician-founded and physician-focused, Pearson Ravitz builds human connections before they create quotes. Visit www.pearsonravitz.com today and embark on a journey of safeguarding your future.
It's no secret that medicine is a bit uptight. That's why Tim and I created BS Free MD, to mix things up a little and have fun in the process. Besides, we are having these exact same discussions all the time, so we thought we might as well invite everyone to the party. If you really like us, you can get plenty more and maybe see one of Tim's cool tattoos on our Instagram or Facebook pages at BS Free MD. See you next time.
Well, we try to keep BS Free MD as raw and real as possible. We can't be held responsible for any medical decisions or discussions had as a result of what you've heard on the show. We know, bummer. But the truth is, we really do care about your questions. So feel free to reach out to us by email at doc@bsfreemd.com.